Hello everybody, and welcome back to PowerDirector Made Simple. There were two interesting new and updated features added to the PowerDirector 365 for users in the July 2025 update from last month. It's taken me a while to fully explore their use, and so far, I can honestly say that I like what I see. These new features included the AI-based object mask and motion tracking for certain style effects. Now, as you can see on my timeline, I already have several video clips ready to go. Let's start with the first one called UFO Flight. You may have already seen this when I recently used it in a previous video as part of the introduction. When I hit play, it's basically just a stationary space-looking image, but I added a UFO flying across the scene. Its flight path was all controlled by keyframes to control the movement, but now I get to use it for what I really intended. Let's say that I want to add some kind of special effect to the UFO, such as lights, smoke, or even electricity. I'll click on Effects at the top, then Video Effects, followed by Body Effect. When CyberLink first introduced this body effect category about a year ago, I thought that these were all way too gimmicky and that I'd never use any of them. Well, here we are today. Not all of these effects will look satisfactory when used on an object instead of a person, but there are several good choices here. I've got a UFO that needs accentuating, so I'm going to start by selecting Electric Shock 1. And I'll drag it down and drop it on the video clip. If I hit play now, the effect merely applies itself to either the entire or maybe the center of the screen. We can do much better by opening up the Effect Settings window by either clicking on the small green letter I on the video clip, or a faster way is to click the icon, which sort of looks like a magic wand on the toolbar. I've played around with this one before, so the first thing I'm going to do is click on Color, then select White, and then I'm going to click OK. I'll then change the size down to somewhere around 20. Then the offset will change down to around 30. And then I'm going to change the period down to around 30. I'm most interested in the effect mask choice, which are either for one object or for the auto selection of all main objects. I want to focus the effect on the UFO only, so I'll click on the first one, which in spite of either of them looking like the outlines of people, the mask is designed for both objects and people. One important thing to realize is that not all effects are supported by the use of the object mask, so you may not see these mask buttons on every one of them. The next window that opens is the AI-based object mask. Step 1 is to click on an object to start creating the mask. Now, by default, the plus tool is selected to add to the mask, but there is also the minus tool if you need to remove an area of the mask. With the plus tool already selected, I now need to make the UFO visible in the screen, so I'll move the playhead forward to anywhere near the 2-second mark. Now I'll just place the cursor anywhere on the UFO and click once. PowerDirector analyzes the object and then selects what it thinks is the entire object by changing the color to blue to let you know what is now included in the mask. It looks like the AI got the entire thing, so I don't need to add or delete any areas. Step 2 says to click on the blue Track Object button. Now, this operation becomes very computer intensive as PowerDirector tracks the object frame by frame which means this could take some time depending upon the length of the clip. When the tracking process is complete, all I have to do is click on OK to return to the main editing window. I'll make sure that the playhead is at the beginning and hit play. And we now have an electric field around the UFO from start to finish. But wait, there's more. I'm going to close the effects settings window and then delete the entire video clip on the timeline. Next, I'll go back up to my media library and I'm going to drag down that same video down to the timeline. And then I'm going to redo all of my previous steps to apply the same effect. I'll click on Effects, Video Effects, and then Body Effect. I'm going to select Electric Shock 1 and place it on top of the video clip. I'll click on the Effect Setting icon on the toolbar, and there, added into the Effect Mask area, you can see is my previously created mask for this UFO. There is no need to recreate it nor track it again. Now, isn't that special? Thanks, CyberLink. I'll just click on the UFO mask, and then with the playhead at start, I'll hit play again. As you can see, PowerDirector saved the mask and the tracking, but I have to reset the variables that are available for this particular effect. Now let's move on to the next clip on the timeline. I'll delete this entire clip and select Remove and Fill Gap. The next clip on the timeline shows a dog taking a man out for his walk. I'm going to show one of several ways to blur the man's face so that he is not embarrassed at walking this kind of dog instead of a real dog like a German Shepherd, a Doberman, or even a Great Dane. This time, I'll go to Effects, Video Effects, Haze, and then I'll drag the blur effect onto the clip. You can see that it immediately applies itself to the entire image. Now, once again, I'll click on the icon on the toolbar to open the Effect Setting window. This time, the Effect Mask area looks a little different. Because I want only the man to be selected, I'll click on the same One Object Mask icon. The same AI-based Object Mask window opens, and I can now just click on the man's face. It didn't delete the entire face, so I'm going to have to click one or more times to get it all. But first, I'll zoom in by clicking the Zoom menu and selecting 200%. Then I can move the small white window until it is on top of his face, which is where I can add more selections to the mask. After several more clicks on his face, I have all that is really needed, and I'll change the zoom window back down to fit. Now, step 2 is to click the Track Object button on the left side. Once again, this may take a little time to complete.
The time warp.
When it's finished, I'll click on OK to return to the main window. With the playhead at the beginning, I'll hit play. The beauty about using these effects being applied to an object is that the blur or even mosaic effect is applied only to the outline of the object, which is defined by the mask. It does not appear as a large rectangle or circle over the face, such as what you'd see using any of the face cover overlays. I can now delete that entire clip from the timeline and select Remove and Fill Gap. The next video clip on the timeline shows a romantic couple at some kind of sporting event. Her green sweatshirt seems to blend directly into the background decorations, so I'm going to show one way to really make them stand out in the video. I'll go to Effects, then Video Effects, then Retro. And finally, I'm going to select Black and White and drop it right on the clip. I'll hit play again, and as you can see in the preview window, the entire scene turns black and white. When it's done, I'll click on the icon on the toolbar to open the Effect Settings window. This time I'm going to click on the effect mask that shows two people in it, which is supposed to auto-select all main objects. Let's see what happens. The AI correctly figured out that the romantic couple were the main objects in the window, so the effect was applied only to them. I'll hit play. Now that certainly applies a unique technique to viewing this clip. But let's try one more thing to make the couple really pop out of the scene. What if we reverse the effect? In the Effect Settings window, there is a checkbox for Invert Mask Area. I'll put a check mark there, and instantly the preview window shows the difference. I'll return the playhead to the beginning and hit play. Now that certainly makes them stand out in front of the complicated background. I'll delete that video and move on to the final video. This time I'll show an example of how AI can get easily confused when applying the face blur effect. When I hit play, you can see that there are a total of 6 youngsters running over the top of a hill. I'll go back to Effects, Video Effects, and then Face Blur. Now, I could pick any one of these, and it's all a matter of personal preference. So let's go with the Face Mosaic, which I'll drag down on top of the clip. Look at the preview window, and you can see the blur has already been applied to the closest youngster in green. But apparently the face is too small for the one in the orange shirt and is disregarded for now by AI. The one in the red shirt has his face turned sideways, so AI thinks that is not really a face, and it also disregards it for the time being. I'll hit play, and you can watch as they keep coming forward that sometimes the blur temporarily disappears, especially if the youngster happens to turn his head or is momentarily hidden behind another one. If I were to slowly scrub the playhead to around the 20-second mark, you'd find the face of the youngster in the green shirt is almost totally visible for several frames. I'll click the icon on the toolbar, and you are about to see where AI really gets weird. You can immediately see that AI detected a whole bunch of different faces. Now, how is that possible when there are only 6 children? In reality, AI actually does see this many different faces. Sometimes they were yelling with their mouths wide open, and other times their mouths were closed. So here's another question. What could you do if you wanted to blur the face of every child except for one, such as the one in the red shirt? Which detected face is his? You could uncheck them one by one until you found his, but you have to keep testing to determine if that was his only detected face. PowerDirector does not give you the capability to click on a person and show all of his detected faces. You just have to determine who exactly it is by toggling each blur either on or off. Now, it's a good thing this wasn't a gaggle of 40 kids coming over the hill. This means that the face blur technique works best for small groups without much movement between them. And this is where I'll end it for today. I hope you picked up on a thing or two. Don't forget that these effects can be applied to just about any kind of object, and when it comes to AI, a person is just like any other object in the universe, at least in the mind of PowerDirector's AI. Now hit that subscribe and like button. Leave a comment or question, and I'll respond as soon as I can. As always, I thank each of you for taking the time to watch this video. I'll see you next time.